You've been working together in youth ministry in some form or another for a very long time now, actually. And how long exactly is that here?
I think it was September 2003
a really long
when
time
I
ago.
first met Father Luke, and I was invited. I'd just been appointed as a youth director for the diocese, and I was invited to come to a youth council meeting, which Bishop Michael, who was the bishop before Bishop Allen, had set up. And it was actually on my birthday, 26th of September, so I remember the date. And I came along and I thought I'd meet some of these young people that had gathered, and I was just sort of trying to be friendly and sort of got chatting. So I met this fellow here, who you can't see, he's this one. And I was just friendly. I thought, what are you doing? What do you do? Are you studying? Are you working? And he just started going on about, well, what I'm doing I don't want to do, but I want it, but I don't want it. And I thought I wanted it, and then I think God wants it, but I don't know if I want it. But then maybe God doesn't want it, but I do want it. So I don't know what I want really. And that was my first impression of Father Luke. We've never had a sort of more sensible conversation since, really.
So Father Luke, you weren't a priest at the time, then, presumably.
No, I know. The father bit is just a modern thing, last 11 years or so.
Last 11 years. So, what's your recollection? Do you remember that incident, that time you met the same way?
Yeah, I remember it well. So I was in the early stages of discerning a vocation. I'd already met up with the vocations director and promoter, and was thinking about applying for the diocese, but also very interested in youth work. And we got this new bishop who was interested in youth work and invited us to his home. So we were like sitting in the bishop's front room, and the new youth director. So I think I was working, must have been working in a pub at the time, having left my job as a trainee golf pro, I was doing A-levels, working in a pub, discerning a vocation, and I just balked, I think. When Hamish asked me the question, I was just like, I don't know, I think I want to be a priest. Don't ask me that question. But anyway.
Well, so what were you doing actually before? So you were a trainee golf pro. Hamish, what were you doing before you became director of youth?
I was actually working as a youth worker in the Archdiocese of Birmingham. I'd only recently, a few months before, accepted a position there. I always felt East Anglia was my home, but there wasn't really an opportunity to sort of do professional youth ministry. So I accepted a job in Archdiocese of Birmingham, and I'd only been there a month. And in that time, Bishop Michael, who had fairly recently been appointed, advertised for a director of youth service for the diocese. So I did a dreadful thing to the Archdiocese of Birmingham, and they'd probably never forgiven me, but I applied to sort of come back home, and I got the job, and I sort of only been there a couple of months and handed my notice in and came over here. So,
well, but clearly worth doing, because you're still here all that time.
Yeah, long time
later. Wow. So are there any kind of standout memories? A question I'd like to ask both of you actually, are there any standout memories from all those years in youth ministry here in East Anglia? But Hamish first.
There are so many. Hard to say, really. One sort of standout memory for me is when we were on pilgrimage to World Youth Day in Spain. We were in a coach. The air conditioning wasn't working on the coach. It was very, very hot. Excess of 35 degrees.
It was
we were
stifling.
Stifling. So we were very much encouraging everyone to drink lots of water, understandably, and keep hydrated. One young person really took this on board and drank so much water, his stomach couldn't contain it all, and decided. He didn't really decide. His stomach decided he needed to vomit, but this decision wasn't made at the back of the coach in a very sort of enclosed area. He started sort of way down the coach and ran through the length of the aisle of the coach, vomiting on everyone as he passed. So,
wow. Okay.
It was spectacular.
It was amazing.
And we were grateful that we were at the front of the coach. We're at the front of the coach.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And what about you? Any standout memories, Father Luca? Any vomiting experiences? Anything like that?
Any standout memories? I mean, I'll go a little bit more spiritual, shall I?
Why not?
Every few years we have these huge pilgrimage gatherings, the World Youth Day, where the youth of the world gather in a city to meet the Pope. It culminates in this huge vigil, and a couple stand out, but I suppose one of the nicest ones in recent years for me was Rio de Janeiro. Because there was various complications, and they decided to move the vigil to that really difficult location of Copacabana Beach.
Wow.
So we had to camp out, 6 million of us on Copacabana Beach, waiting for the Pope.
Quite a spectacular location.
It was awesome. And as you can imagine as well, there's young people partying and guitars playing, people dancing and everything else. But we're there for 6 or 7 hours to get the good position to see the Pope.
Yeah.
So I carried a mass kit with me, and we built an altar out of sand, and then put a proper altar top on it, which I bought from the hotel. I say hotel, hostel where we were staying.
Very rough.
Very rough. And we celebrated Mass, just sort of our group in the middle of these millions of young people. And as we began to celebrate Mass, other people, other nationalities began to join in. And I was thinking, have I got enough hosts? Something like the miracle of the multiplication of the loaves. But it was extraordinary. And people gave myself and Father Michael Johnston flowers and wanted pictures with us. And someone wanted the container I'd used to hold the hosts to stop them blowing away, and saw it as a relic. It was an extraordinary moment, but a faith-filled moment, and one that stayed with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, but it absolutely is a relic, of course, in many ways.
Touch the body of Christ. Yeah.
So, okay, well, your only standout memory so far has been one of vomiting. And so, were there any sort of more profound,
less
I guess, sort of
moments?
What do you find rewarding about youth ministry and what you do?
I think a couple of things. So the youth council that we mentioned, which was started by Bishop Michael, who incidentally it's his 10th anniversary since he died next Sunday, the 11th. He was a truly remarkable man. Had a real heart for young people, and before he came to the diocese, youth ministry hadn't been given a very high profile. There was a lovely nun called Sister Barbara who did some wonderful things, but it wasn't really prioritised in the diocese in the way that Bishop Michael really put it on the map. And he started this youth council, and we used to plan events, and one such event, which we still do today, not the last year because of COVID, but it was the big Epiphany Mass celebration. And up until that point, every event we planned, I'd sort of found I was doing everything. I was going to the cash and carry to get the food. I was setting up fireworks, setting up bonfires and all sorts of things. And I remember this particular occasion, I turned up and I suddenly found I didn't really have anything to do, which was lovely, because these young people who I'd been working with and just being with for the past few years, and suddenly sort of become empowered to just start doing stuff. Some of them had passed their driving tests, and one of them volunteered to cook and all that kind of thing. And suddenly I just realised what a wonderful gift these young people were, and what a privilege it was to be working with these people. I wouldn't say I did nothing ever since, far from it, but I realised that youth ministry is about working together. It's about empowering each other. I think that became another really strong highlight for me. That really became the pinnacle of that in many ways was when we started the Ignite team, and that had been something I'd wanted to do when I first arrived, but although Bishop Michael was a great man, it wasn't really in his vision to do that. So it didn't get going until another great man came on the scene, Bishop Allen, and he hadn't been here long, and he gave the go-ahead to start this mission team, a full-time team, which of course we called Ignite, so you now know the branding, but at the time it was just going to be a mission team. And so that was a long time coming, about 12 years coming, and a team to go into schools, work in parishes and schools, evangelising, telling people about God's love. and much more effective than just me on my own in a diocese of this size. It just made sense to have a team. So when that came together in 2015, that was a really special moment.
Yeah, and well, I wouldn't be sitting here if that wasn't the case. So
No.
I'm glad it happened. And you've both mentioned pilgrimage as something that has clearly been something you've been on quite a lot of times. Pilgrimage is organised for young people and with young people, and in Father Luke's case, as a young person. Why would you say that pilgrimage is something that is a good thing to do with young people? Is something that young people enjoy and want to do?
I think principally pilgrimage is fun. It's a good thing to do. You go away often with other people, not always, but our youth pilgrimages are with other people, and it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to discover more about yourself, more about others, and more about God. And that's because really our whole life is a pilgrimage. Life is a journey from birth to eternity with God. And along that journey there are ups and downs, joys and sorrows, relationships that are formed. And a pilgrimage really condenses that and helps you to really sort of make sense, if you like, of the big journey of life. And I think, it helps you to step back and also just sort of discern decisions, see things a bit clearly. I know in my own life, regular pilgrimages to a place called Taizé in the south of France have been very helpful in discerning my vocation to the priesthood. And I know there are other priests in this diocese of East Anglia, Father Porrig Hawkins, Father Pete Wonansky, who would also point to World Youth Day pilgrimages and to Taizé as being key moments in their vocational journey.
Oh, so it can be a really profound experience then. And actually, I should probably say that the reason you can hear salsa music and clapping in the background is because there is a salsa class over there. So I don't know how much you can hear that, but that's what's going on. It's just happening in the hall.
Don't know if the mics are picking it
to
up
the
or not,
cathedral.
but we can hear it.
We can certainly hear it. So on the subject of pilgrimage, though, we are, and there is a little clue here, we are doing a pilgrimage this year.
We are.
As a youth service. And Hamish, are you able to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. We for the reasons Father Luke said, we're very keen that every year we do some kind of pilgrimage, and we had plans last summer to go to Malta because it was the year of the Word, and Malta was where St Paul was shipwrecked, and St Paul, this amazing hero of the faith and writer. Sadly, that had to be curtailed because of the pandemic, and we were going to go back to Taizé this summer, but again with the uncertainty. So we're not going to let the pandemic stop us. We are just going to make it closer to home. We are going to Walsingham. It might be in our diocese. It might not sound as adventurous as Malta or France, but Walsingham is amazing, and I think sometimes we take it for granted because it's on our doorstep. So we're going to make it a proper pilgrimage. We're not just going to stroll there one afternoon. We're going to do a 70-mile trek over 4 days. So that's quite tough. We're going to be camping in between. So we're leaving Ely on the Wednesday, the last Wednesday of July. And then we're stopping off in Brandon, where Father Luke is going to cook for us.
I'm going to feed you. So
I don't know if he's going to cook for us, but he might.
I might.
He might.
If the sun shines and I'm in the mood.
Yeah. So I should have said that. It might put you off if you think he's going to cook for us. But
we might just get a takeaway. Who knows?
Yeah, anyway, so it's an ancient pilgrim route. Of course, Walsingham, one of the most popular places of pilgrimage for hundreds and hundreds of years. And one of the routes, the traditional routes, was from Ely to Walsingham. So we're leaving on that Wednesday, end of July, camping in between, 4 days of walking, 70 miles. We get to Walsingham on the Saturday, and then we stay over, and then finally depart on the Sunday. So come and join us. Come and join us. It's been a lousy year. Of course, we know that. What better way to shake off the year and just take a little bit of time out? Come on pilgrimage to Walsingham. So have we got some details, Kieran?
We do. There is the website, englandsway.org, and hopefully you should see those details on your screen.
Yeah,
now.
I should say we are planning this with Radio Maria England, the Catholic radio station, so they're helping us with that. So that's why you can't see their logo on the side, but let's cut it off. But never mind.
But yes, they are very much part of the process, aren't they, with the planning and so on. So yes, we really look forward, hopefully, to welcome.
And you're going to do it, Kieran, are you?
I think I am. Yeah. So that means quite a lot of walking, actually. But
Yeah, I'm going to try and do all the walking, but I'm not as young as I was, you know.
it's fun. Long distance walking can be very fun, I think. Anyway.